Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming today. Today, we're going to be covering 7 strategies for training to increase the Dynamics CRM user adoption. So these are just a few things I picked up over the years. We'll have a Q&A session at the end, and if I've missed anything, I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Let's get started. So my name is Mitch Milam. I'm a Dynamics CRM architect, independent consultant. I'm also a 10-time Microsoft Dynamics CRM MVP. You can contact me at mitchxrmcoaches.com. My main blog right now is infinite-x.net, and you can reach me on Twitter at Mitch Milam. So if anything pops into your head after the webinar, I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. So just shoot me an email or drop me a tweet. Okay, a bit of housekeeping. During Q&A, what we'll do is we'll just you can enter your questions in the question box, or what we can do is you just put your raise your hand, which is then the little tab on the item says B there. I'll just open your mic up and you can actually talk at that point. That might be faster than typing. Either one's good for me. So here's my 2016 training roadmap. Continue to do webinars, which you can find at xrmcoaches.com/webinars. Knowledge Bits is my information delivery system I created. It sends you an email a day with tips on everything from development to administration to training and things like that. So sign up for that. That's all free. I've also created a couple learning plans for different parts of CRM. I'm going to add more to that over the next couple months or so. And then finally, I've got some more goodies coming out over the next few months. I've got some practice tests, some on-demand training, video training we're about done with, some new instructor-led training, and then working to either come out with some new books or working on some revisions of other books. Okay, future events. Right after this webinar, I'm going to have another webinar that discusses JavaScript upgrade. If you just go out to infinite-x.net, the last blog post there has a way to sign up. And all I'm going to be doing is covering some things I did for a recent customer upgrade. Very short and sweet. I'm just kind of cover things. I do have a full webinar on that I'll probably do next month, but this will just kind of get you some guts and stuff like that. And in May, I will probably be doing webinars on the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th, depending on my schedule, how it works out. Those are all Fridays, of course. So usually I do the middle 2 Fridays, sometimes the 3rd Friday, but it'll kind of all depend. But probably I might do all 3. I've got a bunch of stuff stacked up that I kind of want to get out into the world. So that's probably where we're going to come. And then I have some other stuff coming up in June as well. So again, always, if you got an idea for a webinar, please shoot me an email, and I'd love to hear what you had to say. Okay, training strategy number 1. Let's build our toolbox. So some of these resources are freely available. Some of these are actually restarting PowerPoint. Sorry about that. And some you have to pay for. So Microsoft Word, the Windows Step Recorder, it's part of Windows from version 7 on up, I think, if I'm not mistaken. We'll talk about that in a little bit. There's a training and adoption toolkit for Microsoft CRM that you can download for free. It has information like Word templates and PowerPoint templates and things. All you do is put your screenshots, etc., inside of those. And by the way, this is all being recorded. It'll be on YouTube later today, and then everything that we're talking about will also be in an email that I'll send to you either later today or this weekend sometime, as soon as Click Dimensions gets through cycling from GoToWebinar into CRM. And once that's all finished up, I'll email everybody the information. So don't worry about capturing all this on screenshots and stuff. TechSmith is the company that makes Snagit and Camtasia. You probably heard of those two. They also have a couple of other things you may or may not have heard of. The first is Jing, which is a free, very light version of Snagit. It's mainly used to record short videos, say less than 5 minutes. So that's really cool. That's free. Screencast.com is also, it's a semi-free version. They have a free version that lets you store up to 2 gigabytes. And then after that, sorry about that. After that, it's a matter of paying. It's like $10 a month for 25 gig. And what that lets you do is actually store your videos on the internet, and then you can just get the URL and send that to people if you're doing stuff like what I'm doing today. So if you had things you did not want to publicize, like on YouTube, or didn't want to make it into a public YouTube or a private YouTube, you could actually use screencast.com. And like I said, 2 gigs for free, and then 25 gigs if you paid $9.95 a month or something like that. So these are all the resources that I use. Like I said, Snagit I use all the time. In fact, it's loaded up here right now. Camtasia I use when I'm doing recording of videos, extended length videos for training classes and things like that. Snagit has the ability to actually capture either still shots or videos. So I use that for a lot of things, depending on the length. And then, of course, you can always bring it into Camtasia and add as an asset in that to do things. So these are the resources that I use on a fairly regular basis to do all of my documentation stuff. So the next thing you have to do is assemble some key personnel. So if you never heard of a SME or a subject matter expert, those are the people who know how to do things within your company. That could be you, it could be the accounting person, it could be whomever. You're also looking for the mavens of knowledge, the masters of the how-to, and the who's it, who knows the what's it. And the last one, I'm like, I know you know somebody who fits that description probably better than other people. So the idea here is you're looking for people who have the business knowledge or industry knowledge to help you actually capture the information that you need to train other people on. So most everybody will probably know who these people are, but if you're coming into a company as a consultant, you're just going to have to ask around and find the most appropriate person. Strategy number 2, define your training delivery strategy. So one of the first things you can do is create an internal website. That could be a SharePoint site, it could be whatever else it might be, just to have a place where people know where everything is. It could even be CRM for that matter. Do you want to have printed or online documentation? A lot of people work better with books. So if you want to create printed documentation or online documentation, either in the form of web pages or PDFs they download, that's an option. Sorry about that. Videos. So videos are very helpful if you do them correctly. Most of the time, remember, you're not recording a novel, so you need to keep it short and sweet. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But a lot of people like to see people tell them things. They learn better through telling, through basically being shown how to do things. Other people work better being if they do it themselves or read it. In-person training, that could be one-on-one, it could be group, depending on however you want to do it, or all the above, quite honestly. Webinars like this one, you can either have full-fledged, like hour-long webinars, or you could take a topic a day and do something interesting, just so that you kind of get the information out there. Maybe every Tuesday morning at 8:30, you have a standing webinar that people can connect to and learn something new about the system. That's also a good thing. Custom help. Since version 2015, sorry folks, I'm not sure why all this stuff's coming up. Since CRM 2015, we've had the ability to add custom help to CRM. Now this is a bit more work than you would think it would be. I don't know if it's actually worth the actual endeavor of doing it. I have never had a customer do it, so if anybody has ever done this, I would love to hear your experiences. The key thing here to remember is everybody does things differently and they learn differently. So if you can provide a variety of options, that might be the best for everybody because it covers all bases. Like I said, some people work better reading. Some people work better listening to people. Some people only work when people show them stuff physically. So everybody's a little bit different. So you really need to kind of take a look at that and then work with each of your people directly like that. Strategy number 3, let's solve small problems. So create small digestible nuggets of content. So for instance, if you're working in CRM and you have a lead process, show them only that process. So take the lead creation process, and then we would have a different set of content for lead creation. Hang on one second, please. Sorry about that. I'm not exactly sure why Outlook keeps coming up. It's not even running. So the way that I kind of like to show people how to do things is first you define a problem, and then you show them how to solve the problem, and then that's the end of the lesson. So in other words, if you are producing a video on something, don't show them 5 or 10 things in the same video because it's very hard for them to actually learn a bunch of things at once. or it's very difficult for you to maintain that content. But if you show them one topic inside one video, that's the way to do it. So therefore, people can go and find that one thing. I have a question on lead conversion. How do I do that? And you go to your web page where you have all your videos, and you have the section on leads, and here's the lead conversion process. They go and watch a 3 to 5 minute video on that, and that solves their problem. That's how you do that. Okay, you can do the extended length videos, but the problem is, like I said, people have to search and find stuff, and it makes them very kind of irritated because you're not presenting the information in a quick and easy way to find it. So people get upset about that sometimes. And what happens when they get upset? They stop learning. Don't forget, this is the most important lesson you can ever learn about this stuff. How do you eat an elephant? Not all at once, of course. You eat one bite at a time. So the thing here is, remember, Dynamics CRM or any product that we work with these days is probably ginormous. There's lots and lots of stuff that we can do. And if we try to learn everything at once, it's just not going to work. So what you do is you take your most important, most commonly used stuff, and you do that first. And then you keep adding to that as you go along. So do a little bit at a time, encourage your users to learn a little bit at a time, and that way neither they nor you get frustrated with the amount of data that you have to kind of consume and the things you have to learn. Okay, so just keep that in mind for yourself and also for all your people. Strategy number 4, you need to ask for help. So when you're creating training materials for somebody, there's a probability that you're the only one who can do a lot of this stuff, but you don't have to do all of the stuff. So, take a look at what you have to do, find the people to help you, and then, put it together yourself. So have users or subject matter experts create the content for you, and we'll talk about Windows Step Recorder in a little bit, but they can actually do a lot of the work to just actually do the raw data capture. Here's how we do this stuff. So have those people do that. You're the editor in charge of the final product. So you take everything everyone's done and you assemble it into a cohesive product. So again, that could be written documentation, it could be videos, it could be cheat sheets, it could be webinars, again, any of the things we've talked about before. Strategy number 5, this is very, very important, I think, especially when you get into large organizations. Develop coaches and mentors. So find people who are, 1, good at the product, and 2, good at communicating and teaching others what to do, and develop them in such a way that they can assist you with the training. So again, you identify your subject matter experts, and then we have a concept that was probably, I think, created back in the 70s called Each One Teach One. It's been around for thousands of years probably, but this is where someone will take someone under their wing and show them how they do stuff. Okay? So everybody can help everybody else. Strategy number 6, shared experiences. So a popular concept that we've used for a long time is called lunch and learns. So once a week or a couple weeks or a month or whatever it might be, we have a lunch and learn where either the company provides lunch or people just bring their lunch to a conference room and somebody takes a topic and discusses that topic for 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, that's a very good way of transferring information. Topic of the day webinars. As I mentioned earlier, you can have a very short webinar either once a week, a couple times a week, whatever it might be. Just, hey, here's something we learned this week, and just share that with people. And again, you don't have to do this work. You can get other people to do it. And as I just mentioned, either the training department will do it, which could be just you, or you can have the users do it by themselves. So again, one of the things you'll notice in this kind of strategy session here is we're trying to spread the love all through the company and not have a single person or group responsible for everything, because that way you don't get overwhelmed with all the activities that have to happen, because most of the time when you're doing these kind of things, you are probably having to do your real job in addition to all this other stuff. So, keep that in mind, is you don't have to do it all by yourself. Get other people involved. This is really interesting if you have a big enough organization, or even if you don't, you create an internal users group. So just like the CRM users group that we have out in the real world, you can have a group of people help with with either special interests, like say we have the sales team, they have their own group, or maybe the customer service team has a group, and you share information amongst all the members and things like that. So this is a very good way. You can have official meetings once a month or whatever it might be to share new things you've learned or to communicate processes from management to the users and things like that. So this is a very good way to do it. And some tips and tricks here, just strategy number 7. One of the things that you might actually find some documentation on is learning is really hard after 4 o'clock because people's mental awareness just kind of winds down. So if you're doing training, I would not recommend doing it after work. Mostly because people are tired and they don't want to be there, and people who are tired and don't want to be there don't learn very well. So in all honesty, it's a complete waste of time. So I try to do my training early in the morning. If it's semi-scheduled or not official, do it early in the morning before their business day starts, more or less, or at the very beginning of their business day, or do it at lunch or wherever it might be. But a lot of people would wait and train their people after their normal work day, like say 5 or 5:30 or 6 at night, and that's just fraught with peril because people are tired. You think about what you feel like on a typical day and try to learn something new. There's just no room to squeeze it in anymore. This is something I used to practice a lot when I was doing corporate work a long time ago, called MBWA, or Management by Wandering Around. So whenever you're doing a new rollout of software, new version, stuff like that, you would be, or may not be, astonished at the number of problems you can solve just by walking around and talking to people. People who would not pick up the phone and say, hey, I got this problem, if they see you walk by their office, they will call out to you and say, hey, I've been having this problem for the past month, and could you help me with this? And yes, I can. It takes 2 minutes and you're done. So always be present if you can. I know depending on the situation, like here, I'm in Texas right now, and I've got we've got 38 people from around the world here. So it's kind of hard for me to wander around to all of your offices this morning. But that does happen. So either make a phone call, get on a Skype meeting, whatever it might be. But if you're physically capable of wandering around, then I would suggest you do so. Create a location to share users' tips and tricks. Again, this is a good thing for SharePoint. You can create a library that has a custom form where you can upload tips and tricks, screenshots, and things like that. Have a place where people can put things that they learn, because a lot of people love to share their tips and tricks. And if you provide a facility for that, that will make your life easier in the long run. In the past few years, the concept of gamification is a way to increase user adoption and learning and actually users of the product. So Microsoft actually bought a company last fall called the Fantasy Sales Team that plugs into CRM and gives you the ability to do things like basically it's a sales tool to help people basically get on the selling thing and stay on it and have fun at the same time. So think about using that as a way to do stuff. So wrapping up here, 7 strategies are: assemble your toolbox, define your training strategy and delivery, define your solve small problems, ask for help, develop coaches, share experiences, and then assemble your tips and tricks. So let's go look at a couple things here. The first is the Windows Step Recorder. So if you've never heard of that, if you just go to Start and type in Recorder, and it will be called Windows Step Recorder or Steps Recorder, depending on your version of Windows. Like I said, it's shipped around at least 7.0 or after that. So I think it was at one point called Windows Step Recorder. It's just a little box that looks like this. Okay. And what it does is, if we go to CRM here, let me put that back up. I am going to record me creating a sales lead. Okay. So I'm going to start my record. Then I'm going to go to Sales, Leads, create a new lead. Okay, so we save that. I'm going to stop the recording. And here is our steps. Now, one of the side effects of this, and you've probably noticed this if you've ever done a screenshot, as you can see, I have two monitors. So I have my presentation on the first screen here, and over on the right, you can see that's where all my GoToWebinar stuff is right now. So the problem with doing it on two monitors is it's going to take a screenshot of the entire two monitor set, okay? But what this does is it literally recorded every step that I did something. So I left-clicked on that, then I left-clicked on something else, and again, every time I do something, it's taking a screenshot, is what the idea is. Okay, so here it's, we're in that, I did, clicked on new lead, then I hit tab, backspace, 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 tab, tab. Okay, so anyway, but you can see this is the process. So this is not going to be like general end user documentation, but one of the things that we'll do is it will actually capture the screenshots for you. So that's very important, I think, because that is a lot of work. I mean, I spent when I was doing that Fun with Fields document last month that I probably had over 150, 200 screenshots that I actually used. Not much time I took, but that took a lot of time. So this is it, and here is kind of a textual representation of this. So this is also good for troubleshooting, by the way, if you didn't know that. It's just a way for you to actually have a user record what happened. It takes screenshots, and it was actually created by the support department, if I'm not mistaken, so they could actually record these things. So that's one. Oops, I don't care. Another thing you can do is you can use Snagit here. We can either capture an image or video. So if I want to capture an image of the screen here, I can do that. I'm just going to capture the whole image, and there it's in that. I'm not sure you guys were with me last week when we talked about creating documentation, but Snagit will, in some browsers, in some versions of CRM, actually be able to capture scrolling regions of stuff like forms and things like that. So that's handy. But it will for sure capture the screen itself, so that's all good. And then once I have it inside of the editor here, so this is the Snagit editor, I can modify it. Say if I want to cut off the top there, I can just squeeze that down like that. When I'm done with that, what I can do is I can share it. So I can convert it to Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote. I can push it to screencast.com. I can push it to Camtasia. If this was a video, I could push it to YouTube or Google Drive or Dropbox or TextMessage Relay, which is another product of theirs. I can also push it to OneDrive for Business. So all of these places I can actually push this content once I have it. And then you can add other places up here. Okay. So, what questions do you guys have? Oh, that's the wrong one. Here's what it said. When I tried Snagit, when I take a screenshot of the scrolled screen and paste into Word, it displays in compressed format. Yeah, that's gonna be that's gonna be dependent on how Word's configured. So you're going to have to kind of work with that. There's a couple settings inside of Word to give you to let you kind of decide how things are working. Steve says, "Can I talk more about gamification?" I can try, Steve. So if I go out to fantasysalesteam.com, oops, salesteam.com. Okay, so this is the product. It's actually free now. A lot of the things that they bought are actually built into CRM. So if you go into the portal, which you access from this griddle icon, well, it's not a hamburger icon. I guess it's a griddle. I don't know what it would be, a waffle icon. If I go to, oh boy, this is the new portal. I can't find anything. Okay. So this is a demo instance or trial instance, as you can see. So if I look at, if I go to my manage my CRM online instances over here, I can click on solutions and it will take me to another page. And what that page will be are the things that I can actually install as part of this CRM environment. Okay, so again, just a standard, brand new CRM environment for North America. Okay, so one of the things we have here is called the Fantasy Sales Team. Now, I didn't think we'd get in this conversation, so I didn't install it, of course, and it would take too long. But you do have this available along with Voice of the Customer, Insights, and a few other Field One Sky. That's a totally different discussion there. But the idea here is they've got this thing where you can pick people on your team to be part of your quote unquote fantasy sales team. It's modeled after the fantasy sports networks that people have in the real world, like they've got fantasy football, fantasy baseball, et cetera, like that. So you can actually pick people, and depending on the way that they are producing or performing, they have a higher rating and stuff like that. That's my understanding of it. I've never actually played with it, mostly because I don't do games, but that's a different story. But anyway, so that's the idea. Pablo, one of my friends, another MVP, also has a gamification product, and there's 2 or 3 others I think out there. So you can just look around. Like I said, this one is free. It's built into the product now, or at least it can be built in. And as you can see, it's a solution that you install. And then there's I think a lot of the configuration is actually done on their website, like a lot of things are. So anyway, so something to look at if you want. David said OneNote is nice for screen clipping and sharing solutions. That's absolutely true. Steve, the fantasy sales team, it's actually a external site. It just has a wrapper for CRM. I don't know what the actual install is for on premises, but most of the work, if I'm not mistaken, is still done on their website. Megan asked, do I have a standard set of training materials, or do you customize the training materials for every client? I kind of do a custom for everything, but one of the things that I mentioned earlier, which now I can't remember what I physically called it. Hang on. Training adoption kit. Okay. So if you go out here and just do a search for just training adoption kit for CRM, and again, it'll be in the links that I'll send you in the email. This basically, it has a whole bunch of things in here. So as you can see, 2013, 15, and 16. It's got user's guide, tips for sales and service, Outlook, quick reference card for customer service, ebooks, books for admin, stuff like that, and then just download, and it's just a bunch of stuff. And so this is probably where you can start, and then see where that takes you. Megan also says Fantasy Sales Team also has great training YouTube videos because you have to set up your users and games. Yeah, it is kind of a setup process because again you're kind of starting from scratch. So you literally create these quote unquote fantasy sales teams, and then you assign points and how points are calculated and all this other stuff. So it's a bit of setup and stuff. Anybody else have anything to add to this? What did I miss? I know that was kind of quick. They have their hand up. See any hands? Ian says planning on using custom help. That'd be great. Won't you drop me a line after you get done and let me know how it goes, and I can share that with the community, or you can do it yourself if you have a blog. I would love to see it. And regardless, send me a link to your thing. So, that's been there since 2013, maybe. They've kind of vacillated off and on. They've kind of got more refined to how they're doing stuff, and then they've got some new stuff coming out. Shoot, I can't remember the acronym. They got a new way of it's like kind of a step-by-step type of thing, and they're looking for customized ways of modifying that. Okay. Anybody else have anything to share? David asks, any questions for website portals to make FAQ or Q&A helper sites? I think didn't SharePoint used to have a knowledge base type of site? I mean, you can always use the knowledge bases built into CRM. ADX Studio has that, I know for sure, and you could do an internal version of that. You don't have to actually publish it on the internet. But yeah, they have a community site, quote unquote. So you could download that and install that. And that you can, like I said, you can publish stuff too. The community site is actually, it's a full-blown community site. So, they've got forums, they've got the ability to do create blogs, all kinds of fancy stuff that I actually haven't played with in quite a while. ADX Studio, Microsoft bought them. So if you just went out to adxstudio.com, if I could type it in right. So anyway, so they've got what would you do? Customer service communities. Yeah, let's do that one. So help desk, community content, crowdsourcing and feedback. So let's let that one, community content. Yeah, blogs, discussion forums, events, Facebook integration, knowledge base, doing searches. So again, if you've never played with the ADX Studio software, it's I'm fairly sure it's free now, but it's built 100% on top of CRM. The portal is actually ASP.NET, so you more or less get the source code to it, and then you can compile and distribute it to whatever portal, either in intranet or internet. And then you just go with all of the data, all of the configurations inside CRM. So it adds one or more solutions into your CRM system. You configure everything from within CRM, and then the site just pulls everything out of CRM and puts it on the web page. It's actually pretty cool. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I really appreciate the time today. And again, if anything else pops up, let me know, and I'll send out a recording of this later today or tomorrow, depending on how things work. And then, like I said, I've got that JavaScript upgrade review here in about what looks like less than 45 minutes.